Hello, IT enthusiasts. Welcome to another episode of My Computer Career's Get Into IT Live, where we do just that, get into all things IT. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Friday here in North Carolina after a pretty lousy day yesterday. Demeria, I know you're in North Carolina today. Yesterday was no bueno.
Yeah, it was raining a lot
Yeah.
yesterday.
And
And
like,
it was pretty cold.
yeah, 45 degrees in Raleigh, forget it. But it's great to be here with everyone once again. And, it's always great to be here when we get to talk to a graduate and talk to somebody who's out in the IT industry doing her thing and doing it big. So, really looking forward to having the conversation. I'll very quickly just formally say hello, Demeria. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And we're going to dig in a little bit more into Demeria's background and just to give you, before we do that, just to give you a quick roadmap of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Demeria's time before My Computer Career, kind of what she was up to, her experiences in the program, and then her transition out into IT and tap into any advice she has around all of those things. So if you are in any of those buckets or unfamiliar with or struggling with either studying or finding a career, this one's definitely going to be for you. So jump into the comments, ask away, and we will do our best to certainly answer those for you. So why don't we get into IT? Why don't we dig in right now? And formally, let's introduce Demeria. Demeria is an IT specialist with the Internal Revenue Service, which leads to all kinds of fun questions, which we'll get to. In the role, she provides customer support services to the organization, installs, configures, upgrades, and troubleshoots hardware and software components. She presents formal or informal training and assistance to customers, reports, responds, resolves customer requests, and assists more experienced specialists in resolving very complex problems. So certainly doing a lot. Thank you for joining us. We're going to dig more into your background in just a few seconds. So why don't we just jump into things?
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. So if you don't mind, Demeria, let's talk a little bit about your journey and what brought you to My Computer Career, if you don't mind. So could you share a little bit about your career path before My Computer Career?
Yeah. So I played college basketball. So I initially wanted to get my degree in criminal justice. So the first school that I had went to didn't have that um didn't have that option. I didn't have that option there. So it was just like, dang, I was just following basketball. But I would say basketball did lead me to a lot of places. So I decided to get my degree in psychology. I graduated from Livingstone College. And whenever I did that, I knew that psychology, you would have to get your graduate degree to get a great job in psychology. So I was a teacher for a bit, and whenever I was teaching COVID, it was around the same time as COVID. So there was a time where I didn't get paid for a month.
Oh,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I was just trying to figure out like what do I want to do, and also what risks do I want to take because I was just nervous, and I know everyone is like afraid to take risks and stuff like that. It could be very like nervousing.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting me a job at Wells Fargo.
Yep. Yep.
And while I was at Wells Fargo, I was just like, still at that stage, like, what do I want to do? So I looked up, just went on Google, and I was like, IT boot camps or IT what? So
Yep.
I ended up coming across My Computer Career, and I was just like, I'm going to take this risk. I know that IT is something that I am interested in. I do have an interest in IT, but I was just like, okay, I'm going to just take this risk. So I ended up meeting an advisor. They told me everything about the program, and I was just like, okay, you have my interest. And so I ended up leaving Wells Fargo for a pay cut. And I took like a pretty good pay cut to get IT experience at Lowe's Corporate. And I would say my career advisor, he was the best career advisor ever. He always stayed in touch. He was consistent. He, like I would call him, like, be upset, like, why am I not getting a job? Or so he ended up getting me a job. And
So,
after that,
if you don't mind, I was just thinking about kind of going your career because it's so interesting to hear. You're at Wells Fargo and you're in essentially a financial role, a banking role, correct?
mhm.
And then you go to Lowe's and it's more of an IT focused role. If I have your background correct.
Yes, so I ended up getting a contract at Lowe's Corporate, and I was a point of sale technician there.
Okay. So you went from a career that didn't really have anything to do, obviously, with IT. You decide to take a pay cut to go get some experience at
Mhm.
Lowe's in IT. And
Mhm.
as that process is going on, you then come across, of course, you do a search for MyCC and you jump in and you enroll.
Yeah, so whenever I enrolled in my CC, I was working at I was working at Wells Fargo at the same time.
Okay, got it.
Sorry, I'm not good at like a storyteller.
No, no, no. You're doing so. It's fine. It was interesting because I know we have, a few of the questions that you and I are going to go through are kind of following your background. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody who's watching kind of understands where you're coming from because there are so many folks, Demeria, like you, that were in another career. Maybe had an interest in IT in another career and just didn't know if they could take the leap or didn't want to take the leap for all the
Mhm.
reasons that I'm sure you thought about. It's too expensive,
Yeah.
too much time. I'm not going to be able to do it. Am I actually going to be able to find a career? So
Mhm.
it's great to hear that, at this point in your journey, you said, okay, I'm taking the leap. I'm jumping into it. So my question around that is, you went to, you have a bachelor's degree.
Mhm.
And, by the way, how many what position did you play? Basketball.
I was point guard, shooting guard.
Point guard shooter. How many points did you average?
I would say my sophomore year, I averaged around like 13, 5, and 5. Starting
Nice.
point guard, yeah.
It's nothing to sneeze at. Get out of here. Nice. Okay. So, but you're at school. You have a bachelor's degree, but you still decide to go get some IT training on top of that degree. And for some people, it's sometimes unclear why folks would feel the need to do that or why that needs to be done. Do you mind
Mhm.
sharing kind of what led you to say, I have a degree, but I also need to get some IT training?
I would say what led me to that is I just felt like my degree wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason I say that is because like whenever you do have a degree, like it's more people out there that has more. So I was like, well, I know IT is a competitive field, so I have to have something to at least back it up, knowingly that my degree isn't like in computer science.
Yeah.
So what will make me like a little bit more competitive, like make me,
Yeah.
so I would say that would.
No, I mean, really smart, Demeria. Yeah, it's so good to hear that. Understand what you need to get into the industry, and you went and found it, and
Mhm.
you did it. We have a question from Roland, which is being answered by Patricia. Patricia's out in the comments, by the way. Thank you, Patricia. So yes, we certainly do have courses equivalent to associate's degree. We actually have an associate degree. So if you go all the way through the program, you can go up to an associate degree. Okay, so speaking of programs, I looked at your file and I think I got this right. You were in the ITSA program, which is
Mhm.
our flagship program. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience and how long you were enrolled in the program?
Yeah, so I was enrolled from January and I graduated in September.
Okay, got it. So
Um
7 months
yeah,
ish.
I believe it was September. It happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah, of course.
But I knew it wasn't a whole year. I wasn't in the whole program a whole year. So my experience in the program, it was great. I just feel like I anything that as far as help, like my computer career honestly was the best. Like you guys help a lot. And we played like to help us be engaged and stuff like that. We played little games. I feel like that helps a lot, especially whenever you're trying to remain focused in the class.
Yeah.
So just to keep your attention span, they also give you like little breaks and stuff like that, just to, reset if you need to. But I would say that it was great. Like, if you need any help, like, it was always help there for you.
This wasn't in the list of questions we have, so forgive me for going off script a little bit. But was
It's
there
okay.
anything in the program, any course or cert that you really enjoyed over others, whether it be CompTIA or A plus or maybe Linux?
I would say that's a great question.
Yeah,
Honestly, I would say CompTIA was one that I was like really, really interested in. But I'm not a great test taker, so whenever it did come to the test, I did not do well on the test.
yeah,
I'm gonna be honest.
yeah.
I get really nervous, and I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. So,
No, for
but
sure.
I did, like, even if I didn't pass like my test, I just wanted to at least make sure that I completed the program. Like, it, one thing about me, I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna make sure I complete the program. That was my main goal.
Yeah, got it. Of course, and that makes a lot of good sense. So, um, I'm just thinking about like the CompTIA. It's always interesting to hear how many students talk about CompTIA because that is, it's one of the first things you learn. That
It
CompTIA
is.
triad is one of the first things you learn. And A plus, which is just a foundational course, is something you literally use and kind of go back to throughout your entire career.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty nice to have a base of knowledge like that. So it's good to hear. So everybody, you mentioned it, a little bit. Everybody in the program at some point is going to hit a rough patch. I mean, they're
Mm-hmm.
just going to because we move fast. There's a lot of information getting thrown at you. Um, did you experience a rough patch, and if so, how did you kind of move past those?
I would just go back into like me failing my test. I was just like, well, dang, I don't think I'm gonna get a job.
Okay. Yep.
um, and I really like, I really feel that whenever you do get those like gold passes, like, take advantage of them. I don't feel like I did.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I can still go back to get them, but they cost, of course. So if you have those gold passes, take advantage of those gold passes, like, 100%, because you're not going to get that anywhere else.
Yeah. That is fantastic advice. Um, and Patricia has the next question up on the screen there. Go ahead, Patricia. Put it back up. Was there a point where it felt overwhelming? Was there ever a point where you just said, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to give up.
Yeah, just going back to like me failing my test. I would say that um as far as like, what I was saying also before, is always help your advisors. They help a lot. I would say study a lot, and then also take a lot of notes so you can go back to your notes. But also just take advantage of those gold passes. I can't stress that enough. I can't.
Take that away from this, folks. Take nothing else away. Certainly take that away. Grab a couple of nuggets from this because that's coming from somebody who sat in your shoes. And it's really, really good advice. How about your classmates? Like during the program, were you able to support each other? Did that help you kind of move things and move through the program?
I would say my classmates were pretty fun. Like, we had,
Yeah.
whenever we had the games, I would say that kind of got everybody a little excited. But as far as my classmates, I don't think I really communicated outside of the program with my classmates, because I didn't, I'm more of a in-person type of person. So if I need help, I would rather someone, like, teach me this way, but I would always just go straight to my advisors. That was just my best. But everyone's else experience could be a little bit different.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. We've heard kind of the full gamut when it comes to how students kind of interact with each other too. We kind of worked on our own too. We supported each other. We had a Discord community. We could ask each other questions and kind of help each other move past some difficult spots. So yeah, that's exactly it. It just depends on the person and the
Mm-hmm.
class. All right. Our LinkedIn names aren't coming up, but we do have somebody on LinkedIn who obviously is at MyCC that says we offer a 6-month refresher course at no cost to alumni. It will allow you to access certification exams for free. So there you
Oh,
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So you can always jump into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
All
I
right.
didn't know
So
that.
and we can send you information on that, Demeria, of course, if
Okay.
you want that. I'm sure Sharif will be right all over it. He'll help you out.
Okay.
And Sharif's out there watching. By the way, Sharif, thank you for connecting us.
Yeah,
I'm sure
Sharice's
you're
the
out there watching.
best. Sharice's
Yeah.
the
Um, so you graduated, and then you're able to land your first gig. Can you what was that gig, and how did you land the job?
My first IT gig,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So Sharif helped me a lot. Sharif helped me a lot. He was all like consistently send me emails like, "Hey, are you interested in this?" He would call me like, "Hey, we have this position. Are you in?" And I'm just like, "No, no, no." And I would just like, at this point, I need to do whatever I can to just get this experience instead of thinking
Yeah.
about the money aspect of it, because it was just like, like, no, I'm not going to be making enough. How am I going to pay my bills? Like,
Yeah.
so I do like that is something that you do have to take into consideration. Um, but I was just like, you know what? If I have to find something else to like hold me up, then I would do that. But my main goal is to get this experience because this is something that I do want to pursue a career in. So, like that was just like whenever it comes to IT, it's very competitive, and people look for that experience. You have to have that in your background. So yeah, that was how I landed.
I got to tell you, Mary, that that's so much wisdom, for somebody that's relatively early in their career. We've done 76, 77 episodes of this now. We've had so many folks that have come on here and have talked about get in the door, get experience, take the
Mm-hmm.
job you need to take in IT, because if you show that you are invaluable, and if you hustle, you are going to advance and most likely advance quickly. So don't
Mm-hmm.
be afraid to take that job and go get some experience. So yeah, I mean, just really, really smart.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really competitive. Like I don't know how many times I applied to so many jobs.
yeah,
I would say if I didn't send over 100 um, applications, I maybe sent 200.
yeah, and that's absolutely common, and it can get frustrating, and you get demoralized. Am I going to get a job?
Mm-hmm.
But, you network, you hustle, you keep working on your own behalf, you keep working with career services, and you're going to figure it out. I mean, and I love that you have. We
Thank
got a
you.
lot of folks asking about the refresher course now. So Sharif, by the way, that was Sharif that mentioned the 6-month refresher.
Oh,
So he's getting inundated with questions, which is great, and I'm sure Sharif will be happy to share with everybody. By the way, so Sharif's out there hustling on your behalf. Obviously, when you're trying to find a gig, you guys are working together. Um, did you tap into career services otherwise during your search? Did you resume assistance, LinkedIn? Was there anything like that?
I don't remember.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't remember about that.
Okay. All right.
But I feel like I did reach out to career services, but my I know I communicated with Sharif well more than anything.
And yeah, again, that's how it works the best. Wherever you are, whether it's my computer career or anywhere, if you
Mm-hmm.
have somebody in career services or somebody willing to work, whether it's a recruiter on your behalf, communicate with them. Make sure that
Mm-hmm.
you're giving them your preferences, you're updating them on where you are and where you want to be. All right, so let's talk about a little bit of advice. We just hit on it. We just talked about it, quite literally. Do you have any advice for people out there who might be frustrated in their job search? Maybe for that person like you, who had to apply to 100 jobs, 200 jobs, who maybe feel ready to give up. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, so my advice would be don't stop networking. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, like keep on applying, even if it's a 2-month contract, even if it's a 1-month contract, take it. um, I would also say like just stay consistent. That's I can't stress that enough. Like after after my contract ended at Lowe's, I wasn't. doing anything as far as IT. And I would say just me networking and got me in the door. I was bartending.
Yeah.
um
Yep.
yeah, I ended up having to serve at a restaurant, and like just something after my contract ended. So then after that, and I'm just being very transparent, uh and then I end up getting to where I needed to be. So I say don't stop.
That's
And
exactly. I mean, it's exactly what you have to do. You went and did what you had to do to get hired, and guess what, Demeria? You see it. People hire hustle, and there you are hustling to find a gig, and you land one. So
yeah.
it's impressive, and it's not unlike what a lot of other folks go through. So we're talking about your job. You work for the IRS. Did you lose any friends when you went to work for the IRS?
No.
That was just so
No.
you know. Before we came on, that was my wife's question. She was in the kitchen and she said she works for the IRS. Ask her this. So I had to ask. There you go. All right.
No. I don't. I mean, I understand that we're on the podcast now. I don't speak on it a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
I am open to it as far as like speaking on it. I don't really like tell too many people. Like if someone asks, I'll
I
just do
completely
IT.
understand. I completely understand.
Yeah.
You,
So
you, can you talk about kind of? You don't have to go into details about what you're doing or your responsibility. I mean, do you want to talk about your responsibilities or?
I would just like I'll just give you like, be very vague about it. I help my colleagues of things that they need assistance with,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's.
Okay. No, perfectly fine. Understood completely. Um, did you feel prepared for the job?
I was terrified.
Yeah.
I yeah, I was terrified. I was like, okay, yeah, I didn't know what to say. I was terrified though. I had to mentally prepare myself. I was really nervous. Like I was like, "Oh my gosh, like what do I do?" I was terrified.
So, you know, that's normal. That's natural. It's good that you're a little terrified because that means that you care and you're going to do well. But when you actually had to sit down and start digging into all the kind of technical aspects of your job in IT, did you feel like your background, uh, you could tap into your experience and your knowledge? Did your background help you kind of navigate those first, that first month or two when you just felt like it was all coming at you pretty fast?
Um, I didn't 100% know. I felt like you had to be like well overly qualified.
Yeah.
Um, but I was like, okay, well, let's let's go for it.
Yeah.
Um, and I will also say what helped me outside of me having the IT certification, I just tried to find like little free online classes to help boost my resume.
Yep.
So I would say that helped me a lot too, because that is something that I have experience in as well. So I would just find little things to like, okay, what can make me better? What can make me better? And honestly, I just feel like just going back to sports, that helped. If I would have never like, played basketball, that would have never made me hustler, disciplined, just well rounded. So I would say that helped me a lot too.
Perfect. And I always try and ask what is, where you are now is probably not where you're going to be in 5 or 10 years. If it is, great. That means you found your gig, you found your next. But is there something else that you may want to, is there something else you want to be doing in 5 years, 10 years in the IT industry?
I plan on retiring
There you
from
go.
my job. I love my job.
I love it.
I love it. I love my coworkers. They help me a lot. I love it.
Yeah,
So I just like I'm a server on the side
yeah,
still.
yeah, yeah.
Um I find little little gigs to, just do here and there, volunteer. But yeah, I love it.
Demeria, that's it. I mean, honestly, that I think this is the first time we have had somebody come on because everybody looks ahead,
Hmm.
and you're saying I found my people, I found my place. This is where I want to be, and there's a lot to be said for that. So good for you, and congratulations on finding your kind of IT home.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, so let's cap it here. We have Dante's out in the chat, and he kind of he's signing up. He's looking to sign up in February. So um, for someone like Dante, and for a lot of other folks that are out there um, who might be on the fence about whether or not to take the leap into an IT career, what would you say?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, for folks like Dante or anybody else that's kind of out there wondering about the IT industry, wonder if they should actually take the leap like you did into an IT career, what would you say?
I say go. Like as far as you taking a risk, what comes with whatever risk you take. So like just I would say be prepared for those risks that you take and don't stop networking. Like I cannot stress that enough. IT, like you'll find you will run into someone and never know that they do IT. Never know. Because I've
Yeah,
came across like me like serving now. I take that as an advantage of me still networking because I still network to this day.
sure.
So like I'll come up, you do IT? Oh, I do IT too. And then I'm like, oh, okay, you would have never guessed, and they would have never guessed because they see me in my server uniform thinking that this is my full-time job.
Yeah.
And I would say that, and I would say just take that risk. Don't be afraid to take the risk and go for it.
We have so many people that quite literally, I think that's the line. Take the leap, take the risk, jump in, before you're ready. Just go do it. Again, whether it's here or anywhere else, if you want to get into IT, just go, just do it,
Hmm.
get it started. You can always make an adjustment. So, Dante, I hope that answers your question. I think Demeria did feel prepared to go into her IT career, and is flourishing in her IT career. I don't want to put words in your mouth. So is that the case, Demeria?
I would say
Okay. All
I,
right.
I mean, I love my job. I love my
Yeah.
job.
All right. Beautiful. So what I miss? What else do you want to say? I'm sure I missed something.
I would say thank you, my computer career. Honestly, I don't feel like if I would have never went to school there, I don't know what I would have been doing now. Like I really appreciate it. I really
Well,
appreciate it.
and I appreciate you joining us. Just so everyone knows, Demeria joined us kind of at the last minute
Mhm.
yesterday, which was very much appreciated, especially with your big personality, and your background, and having you here to talk about your journey. It means a lot, not only from this end, but it means a lot for so many people out there that were in your shoes. So I very much appreciate it, and I very much appreciate you spending your time with us today because I know that you're busy.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. And by the way, thanks for the kind words about my computer career, but it's all you. You earned it. So, and I say that to everybody. So, congratulations to you. All right.
Thank you.
So, we're going to wrap it right there. Want to say thank you to everybody who joined us. Great to see Dante. We'll see you in February. Um, uh, Thank you, everybody who joined us. We always appreciate these 30 minutes of your time. I hope you have amazing weekends. We will be back here next Friday. We don't know exactly who we're talking to yet, but I promise you it will be a great conversation. So please, if you're interested, join in next Friday at noon, and we'll see you there. So, Demeria, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining us. And if you don't mind hanging around for just a second, we will go ahead and tell everybody goodbye.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, folks. Have a great weekend.